Hey, it's your girl KB back with another review for Sistas. Finally getting around to this review. Season 8, Episode 6, Web of Deceit. This episode was a bit annoying because so many grown people were just displaying emotional immaturity or just not thinking things out. And I get it. People ain't gonna think like me. I don't expect that. But it's just like these situations is like, come on now. So let's get started. We pick up where we left off in Andy's penthouse. Penelope and Jordan then came up. Penelope smacks her. You think you and Gary can just go around ruining people's lives, huh? And it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? I said, okay, Andy, you bucked up, so your fight or flight kicked in to where you gonna fight. We don't know if you're gonna win, but you're not gonna sit there and ball up like no little punk or whatever. So I would like to see it. I would like to see it. Penelope is pissed. She says that Andy ain't ish for breaking up with Jordan. You broke my brother's heart, and I have to be here for him. And she's like, what happened? What happened, Jordan? I had to be here for him when all the pieces fall or something, she said. So Andy's trying to figure out what happened. And Jordan tells her that he had to remove himself for the race for, what was it, mayor, city council, something. Whatever he was running from, he can't do it no more. They called him and said, hey, you got too much bad press on you. It's just not looking good. And Penelope was like, yeah, ever since you basically... got him in this whole mess with you and Gary, and he got interrogated for Gary's stabbing. So Andy's just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna call somebody. I'm gonna call somebody, and they were like they would listen to you. Andy, your name is trash these days. Like, this is the second or third time you've been caught up in some type of scandal when it comes to Gary. Not looking good for you, sis. Your name is starting to look a little crumbly in the light, okay? People will come to you for a divorce, but that may be about it. So Jordan is mad because he's basically... Penelope's whole idea is that Andy and Gary have been conspiring to ruin their lives. And she's like, why us? Why us, Andy? Jordan is kind of believing it as well because he's mad that Andy has not hit him up since stab night. So Andy says, well, my attorney advised me, not to speak to you because these are critical days and da-da-da. He was like, well, who's your attorney? Robin Gentry. And he's like, oh, are you serious? Your ex? And Penelope's like, Penelope's like, of course. Like, girl, this ain't helping your case at all. This was so crazy because if you think about the timeline of things, Gary, which Penelope, I don't think Penelope knows that Gary was with Andy at the same time during her pregnancy, at the beginning of her pregnancy, I suppose. I don't think they ever really revealed that to her. I can't remember what all they told her outside of like, we dated type deal. I think they put a timeline on it, but they didn't give an end date. So Penelope, the way that this was stumbled upon, your brother finally says, hey, come over and meet my girlfriend, the people coming over, yada, yada, yada. And that's how you meet. They look just as shocked as you were when you find out, but now you believe that this was all some conspiracy to ruin your life? Baby, if they just wanted to run off with each other, they would have ran off with each other. Y'all aren't that bright to figure out where they at and go through investigations and try to hunt nobody down. They could have just ran off if they wanted to ran off. So for you to think that Andy is in... I was always wondering why Gary's ex would befriend me the way you did. Because that's dang near your sister-in-law now. She's dating your brother now. She's not with Gary anymore. So any extension of kindness that comes from that, it comes from the fact that you know Gary is trash. And you need some type of comforting and support. And also, you're the love of her life for today's sister. So yeah, she's going to be nice to you, girl. Penelope was getting on my nerve because the thought process... it really didn't make all that much sense when you take into account everything that Andy has went through. Oh, well, your picture was in his drawer when I raided his office. Girl, what I got to do with something that's in his office, in his drawer? He could have had that picture from when we dated. The fuck? Was it a recent picture? Was it me and him yesterday or something? Like, girl, what are you talking about? It was super annoying. Andy's trying to plead her case, trying to convince Penelope and Jordan that, she's not in love with Gary and, she wasn't marrying him for love. So they're like, well, girl, why was you marrying him? She finally lets them know that he was blackmailing her and threatened to ruin Jordan's life and also threatened to off him. And so she was trying to protect Jordan. It's the truth. So Penelope was like, you know what's the truth? You know what the truth? I caught Gary in your closet sniffing your underwear. I bet he was thinking about you guys hooking up later that night. And Jordan looks at Andy. Is that true? Andy was like, boy, I was sitting on the couch next to you. I don't know what was going on in there. And she certainly didn't come out and say nothing. So, like, I was with you that night. What are you talking about? Child, it was just stupid. Penelope, she's just truly like, yeah, after I had all that time to think while I was in witness protection, I figured out that you guys were plotting all along. And he said, all that time to think, and that's what you came up with? Good one, girl. Because seriously, especially when Andy did things to literally try to steer her away from Gary, and it was Penelope's own, persistence or, inquisitiveness to figure stuff out where she went to Gary and put herself in harm's way. Andy literally tried to protect you in every sense of the way. So, like I said, they mentioned the picture in the drawer. And Penelope was basically like, you guys have succeeded in ruining us. I was like, the drama is just so ridiculous. I want my words bigger. I feel like I can't see. Where am I? She says that she's going to get Andy and Gary back and that the plan is already in motion. I said, oh, Lord. Who child, what these folks done did. And then Andy's like, you sound like you did it. How you gonna get me back like Gary got back? What you talking about? And yeah, she's like, of course you don't think I stabbed him. Well, you have been a little unhinged lately. And Penelope was like, she started taking off her coat. Andy started taking off her earrings. Let's go there. Because the first one was for free. The next one I won't be so nice. I said, Andy, you talking like you got them hands, sis. I'm wondering. So she's like, well, why are y'all here? What are we doing? Like, Jordan was like, I just wanted to look you in your eyes and see if there was any resemblance of the Andy that I used to know and love. Is that girl still there? And Penelope was like, and I'm here to make sure that he don't fall back into your web of deceit. Let's go. And Andy is like, no, I want to talk to him privately. You can go. And he tells her, go ahead, wait in the car, Penelope. Penelope's like, you can't be serious. She apologizes for everything and says that Penelope has it all wrong. She's like, I want to believe you, but I can't. I can't even look at you right now. It's just so much going on, y'all. So that's the first set of people with zero emotional intelligence. Like, Penelope ain't even the most annoying one in this episode because at least, I ain't even gonna say at least, first and foremost, Penelope was pregnant. She lost her baby. I'll give her a pass for a crazy theory she done cooked up because she probably postpartum. Well, she is absolutely postpartum and grieving the baby. So we'll give her a pass. But the ones that do not get a pass, Rich and Tony don't get a pass. They about would have got dumped messing with me. I just be like, oh my gosh, I am so glad that Daryl got back into my life when he did. Me and my husband, we met briefly in college. He was at Morehouse, I was at Spelman. We both from Memphis. He was like, y'all need to meet. Y'all both from Memphis. We met, kicked it a couple times, but I was just busy and I was getting ready to go to London for the summer. So just nothing popped off. Almost 10 years later, we linked back up in Memphis. The rest is history. Married with a baby. I'm so glad that happened, because I'd probably still be single out here, because stuff like this, Rich and Tony would have been dumped. This right here, this episode alone, even if I gave allowances for the annoyances, the kids, the baby mama, the ex-wife, the foolishness, you messing up my fertility journey, and even if I gave allowances for all of the foolishness they've done in the past, this episode right here, it would have been OV. Don't ever get to yelling at me in public. Don't get to talking to me crazy, period. I don't care if you in a low tone. I don't care if you talking in a regular conversational tone. If you're talking nasty to me, if you're unleashing on me, we're not doing that in public. We are not doing that in public. If you got feelings, you save them for when we get to the house. Okay? I don't play them games. I don't play. Rich and Tony, they annoying, y'all. They pop up on Sabrina and Danny as soon as Danny is like, you hear her talking mess. They hear her talking about the management program, yada, yada, yada. Tony is mad that Danny is talking to Sabrina about the management program. Rich is mad that Sabrina is at lunch with Danny. That right there, Rich. He pissed me off more than anything this episode. Tony was annoying too, but Rich is the one that really got it, because it's like Danny is very so clearly going through it right now emotionally. Whether you feel like it's valid or not, you know that she's going through, because Tony is also mad with her, and they're having relationship squabbles. She is sitting here at noon already drunk. Already drunk, and you mad at Sabrina for being there clearly to check on her, because you just left Sabrina, so you know that Sabrina ain't been sitting there with her drinking and they just having a good old kiki. It clearly looks like my friend is on the edge of a breakdown. Please let me go get her before she falls off the edge. It looks like that. Y'all walked in and it looked like that. So for him to have a problem with it, whew, it would have been over. It would have been over, y'all. Sabrina invites them to join, and, you know, Tyler Perry got to make these men as goofy as possible. They jump over the little partition that's right there, and they sit down to have lunch with them, or just to argue for the most part. They are arguing super loud, and all four of them are like fussing at the same time, and everybody's just like looking at them. Sabrina ends up calming them down, like, yo, y'all, we are not about to be those people, those black people in here screaming at the top of our lungs at the restaurant in the middle of the day at lunchtime. Like, no. So they calm on down. Tony is like, okay, well, I'll start. Danny's like, that's no surprise. And he tells her, you know, he feels like she's there to get Sabrina's approval. She don't want to do the program. She mad at him. He feel like he's just trying to advance her life. He's just trying to give her more out of life. Because why you being complacent as the front desk girl for the airport? On one hand, I get it. If you feel like, if you see where everybody's advancing and somebody's just standing still, you loving and caring for somebody, you're going to kind of, you know, investigate, try to see what's going on with them and why they haven't really found where they trying to be where they want to be, right? But he just came on too strong. He came on too strong. So, what's her name? Sabrina ends up being like, well, I think with Tony that he was just trying to basically taking up for Tony. She understands where he was coming from. Danny was like, you are on the wrong side of history. In what world do you think it's okay to take his side right now? Shut up. And then Rich ends up taking Danny's side. So they cross, you know, taking the other sexist partner's side. Rich is just like, oh, so, you always run into Danny's aid, and anytime Andy needs you, you run into Andy's aid. So I'm just realizing that now I'm low on your priority list, but when it came to you needing a sperm donor, I was high. You was desperate for my sperm. I was high on your priority list. Baby, he would have got mushed, a drink in the face, something. It was just so rude and nasty the way he did that, because it's like, one, she was not desperate for your sperm. You literally rolled up on her while she was interviewing a potential sperm donor. So for you to try to act like she was hounding you down, throwing a tantrum in the floor, pissing, crying to try to get your sperm, she simply said, hey, I want to have children. Is that somewhere in your future? It's not. Bad. Cool, I hear you, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. So for him to say that, like, it's not even accurate for you to say that, baby. It would have been so done. It would have been so gone. Baby, it would have been over. Rich is just a walking red flag, because how you gonna tell her she can't be there for her friend in a time of distress? Like I said, I can see if they was out shopping, if they over there kiki and they got a bottle of wine at the table, but it's not that. So for him to be throwing a hissy fit when she end up with you every night, she leave her girls early. She be with her girls a bit, but she will leave them early and come see you. Don't act like she be blowing you off, okay? So that was annoying. She's like, well, can we talk in private? Well, y'all gonna gossip about it anyway. That's what they said. Well, y'all gonna gossip and run to Andy's rescue. I said, what? Danny was like, y'all don't want to be gossiping like little high school girls. They called him out for being obsessed about Andy. They're like, what is your problem with Andy? Why you always got a hard on for her? Why you always breathe it down her neck? Oh, so you guys can care about your friend, but I can't care about my friend the way she did my friend. I can't hate her for that. So Sabrina's like, so this is about him and not me. He tells her that he is emotionally intelligent enough to be mad at both. I said, baby, is the emotional intelligence in the room with us? Is it? Is it? Because I don't see her. I don't see him. It's not here with us. It's truly not. And so Danny gets up to leave. They're still arguing. She said, he's like, well, you can't drive. You've been drinking. She said, well, I'll call an Uber. But she don't call the Uber right there. She just walks out. So you don't really know if she calling an Uber or if she about to just drive herself home. Tony is just sitting there like he about to start venting at them. Like, you see what I gotta go through? Ooh, she be getting on my nerves. They both looking at him like, nigga, go make sure she gets home safely. Are you kidding me? And Rich is like, yeah, you should be making sure that your girl gets home safely. Like, you about to sit. These men would have been so broken up with. They would have been so broken up with. So back at the shop, we saw Miss Marie getting there while the girls are protesting. She's mad that it hasn't been tested yet. And this is like, I hop around a little bit. She's mad that the product hasn't been tested, but admit that she should have checked it as well. Trey, that was there, he give on hugs. Pam gives her a kiss, and he leaves. Miss Marie is like, oh, is that fine-ass man the reason that you ain't focused on your product to get it tested to make sure these chemicals ain't out here taking out edges? She was like, oh, no, ma'am. It's money over men. You know how we do. Karen is being all pitiful, and Miss Marie ends up telling her that she needs to boss up. Like, girl, stop all this pitiful stuff. They noticed that the girl's edges are shaved off, okay? She was like, girl, I see the stubble. That ain't no chemical burn. That is shaved off. So they call her out. Miss Marie is pissed at this point. She tells her she will sue for defamation, and then you won't be able to find 4 nickels in your coochie, let alone $400, $400,000, you mendacious wench. Pam said, I don't know what that means, but I hope that her edges never grow back. It was a little goofy thing, but it was a good kind of goofy, I guess, because I was tripping off of them in this daggone shop. And I'm like, where all these girls come from? Did they come through the front door, or did she just have them in the shop? Like, where these ladies come from? These weren't the people getting their hair done, wasn't it? Okay, girl, whatever. Scene's over with. After the girls get out, because like I said, Miss Marie ain't playing with them. Get out. I will sue you and you'll be up out of here, girl. Not Pam. Karen. Karen is like, you want your money back, don't you? And Miss Marie, this is when she went off on her, basically telling her she needs to boss up. She needs to stop being all pitiful and downtrodden. That's no way to be an entrepreneur, and that's no way to be a mama. She's like, but I do want a business plan, and I want this product tested by my QA team. And, you know, if you don't get this done, she won't be the only one with no edges. And she walks out. Can't Pam like, oh snap. And as she walking out, Karen mama walking in like, and who is that? I said, girl, you better explain to your mama who that is before she go get that toolie out of her. Because Karen mama don't play. Let my grandmama tell it. Karen is Medea's granddaughter, and that's why they be gun toting like that. my grandma be in them Facebook groups, in them sisters Facebook groups, arguing with people about the plot and what she think is the unwritten parts of my grandma crazy, y'all. Hayden and Fatima, let's go to work. Like I said, every time they have Fatima working in this conference room, it's going to piss me off because she was in an office. She was in an office at one point. But now she works in the conference room. And even though she has been told multiple times that she needs to focus on work and not personal, she is all out in the open doing homework for law school. Fatima... Okay. He comes in there. Hayden comes in there. He comes with a stack of files. She's got like a little, little takeaway salad on the desk. He's like, oh, is that your lunch? Looks tasty. And slams the files on top of her daggone salad. He tells her that it's some mistakes within the files. It's some misspelled names. And he's going to make her go through all of the old files to find it. Soon as he walks out, she calls Zach to tell him what happened. Again, more personal stuff while you sitting in the middle of a glass office in the middle of your law office. So everybody can see you on the phone with your books out. Like, it's so frustrating because at Fatima's age and maturity, she knows in real life, she would know better. She would know better in real life. But in Tyler Perry universe, here we are. They're on the phone. He lets her know that he's got a parent-teacher conference. She tells him don't be late. We see Zach coming in from the conference, and he's talking to Michael. Oh, your teacher says you're doing good, and you're following along, and this, that, and the third. And he's like, all right, you hungry? Let's get you a snack, And he's like, well, you ate this, you ate that, so you want fish sticks or nuggets? And Michael's like, he's like, did you talk? Did you just say your first word? What'd you say? Say it again. Nuggets. And he just over there whispering, nuggets. And it was just such a cute little moment because as we know, on this show, Zach's son, Michael, that he got from the stripper, Heather, that's another thing. I don't know how much, I can't remember how much we getting explained that we be introduced to stuff on Zatima, and then it just kind of pops up on Sistas without much of an explanation. So I can't remember what all has been discussed, but basically, excuse me, Zach messed with this stripper years ago, and she had a baby. She couldn't hunt him down. She finally ended up hunting him down, pinning the baby on him. They got a DNA test. It's his. The boy is nonverbal. I assume he's on the spectrum. The mom was abusive. The boy was not living in a good condition. They end up getting him after he had an incident where he had to go to the emergency room. So this being his first time really speaking, exciting news, right? She goes to, he's wanting to call her to tell her. We see her, she goes to let Robin know that Hayden has been, just throwing Andy's name through the mud, running her name through the mud, and telling clients that she is not returning. He's like, okay, well, I didn't know that. Like, yeah, that's not right. And I'm like, yeah, the fact that although Fatima be very unprofessional at work, she was not wrong when she said that it does not make sense for Hayden to be taking over Andy's cases when we know his history on how he hates her and how he's been doing everything to take this company from y'all. It's just like, it was bad from the start. And he's just like, oh, well, Fatima, I sent you in there to make sure. Yeah, but he's my boss technically, so what I'm gonna tell him to do in these cases other than coming to run to you to have to snitch? She also lets him know about the paperwork that he wants her to go through to check for discrepancies. And my thing is like, girl, that's regular work. But she mentions that, he tells her the same thing. That's work. That's not uncommon for somebody to go through all of their files, to go through the files to make sure there are no discrepancies. And she brings us a valid point, says, well, why wouldn't I go through any of his files too? And he's like, okay, you got a point there. She lets him know that Hayden has been hateful and just an asshole and has got everybody food. And she was like, and I guess he got you food too. And he's like, okay, well, tell me more. Okay, tell me more. And it cuts away from that scene. And when it comes back, we just see him like, okay, you gave me an earful. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what all she done told him? We wanted to hear it too. So he's like, you gave me an earful. And I certainly was not aware of this, but he's still your boss, okay? So she's like, before I leave, do you got any leads to take the smoke off of Andy for Gary's stabbing? He's like, actually, I do. And he takes out some pictures and hands it to her. It's pictures from when Gary's handler was pushing her down on the ground. And he's like, so why was he roughing you up? And wasn't that the same day that he got stabbed? And Fatima is just like, we're gonna see what happens with that next episode. But I was like, yeah, it's gonna look like Fatima and Zach for the most part. And then if people find out about the whole Hayden, Tamara, Gary love triangle, Hayden would absolutely be the number one suspect, okay? Suspect over there being butthurt, slamming files on salads, trying to make people mad and quit their job, okay? Suspect be a BAN and getting on everybody's nerve. Suspect be jealous of Andy, wanting to take her job and mad, trying to ruin her because they recommended her for partner. So annoying, y'all. But that is that episode. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the law office. Is Fatima going to straighten up? Is she going to be professional? Is she going to get back in her office? Like, what's happening there? When it comes to Hayden, Robin, what did you think was going to happen? You know that he's always trying to ruin Andy. He's absolutely going to do it if he has access to talk and work with her clients. Crazy. We already know that Miss Marie is the reason that Hayden is even still there. She said that on her way out. And I said, well, that's the only thing that makes sense, because in the real world, Robin would have fired that man so quick. You are a tax attorney, baby. Y'all are a dime a dozen. I'm sorry. It ain't like you. It's tax attorneys everywhere. That's all I'm saying. So it ain't like Hayden is some specialty that needs to be treasured. So when Miss Marie let me know that she's the reason he's still there, I said that makes perfect sense, because Robin would have absolutely got rid of him. But at this point, we're going to have to reevaluate. Miss Marie going to have to deal, okay? Andy saved you, so you going to stay where her at. But when it comes to Hayden, you have to know that he ain't good for business. He ain't good for business. And again, some people suspect that Miss Marie is responsible for stab night, because she did tell Andy, hey girl, don't even worry about that man. I'm gonna handle that for you. So knowing Tyler Perry, it'll probably be another season before we know who is responsible for stab night. But that's it, y'all. Make sure y'all thumbs up the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. and all that other good stuff. Y'all, yeah, support the channel. Y'all watching, but y'all ain't subscribing. It's free. Just subscribe. I'm going to do some music reviews because I want to weigh in on this Wayne and Kendrick situation. And I also want to talk about Glorilla's album. So that'll be coming up next as well. And then I'll get to Real Housewives of Potomac, Love and Marriage Huntsville, and Married to Medicine. Too many shows. But yes, y'all. That's it. Bye.